what just happened now.
Experts cannot be trusted.
Mike posted it today.
And this is at the core of why I find this dissertation and how it passed so disturbing.
Mr. Mike just pulled off what might be the worst damage control in the history of the internet.
In response to that, the entire circle jerk, Little Milo Wolf, Mike, Jeff Nippard, all of the usual suspects came out to defend Mike.
He's not going to talk about this on his YouTube channel.
This is why holding a PhD has slowly become more and more devalued over the years.
Once that trust is lost, it's incredibly hard to earn back.
Coach Greg and the aftermath of the Israetel files. And so turns out that Mike was lying after all. And he's finally come clean. And so overall, what has transpired? Well, many people, they don't care. They're saying, so what if he lied? So what about a paper that's over 10 years old? Many people are choosing to stay silent. They don't want to ruffle any feathers. After all, they like Mike. They've been on his podcast. They're making money because of Mike. And so they want to keep it a little bit hush-hush. I don't want to say my 2 cents. And so we don't actually know if they agree or disagree. They're just staying silent. Other people, such as myself, the scientific snitch, and Dr. Idreas Moga, they're speaking out and people are clapping back, saying, how does it matter? Why are you continuing to talk about this? Here's the perfect example. Speaking as someone who Mike has positively influenced through his content online, really helping me change my life for the better, I don't give a Turk if he dropped out of elementary school. And so I responded, valid, but do you care if he lies right now about his past? I mean, yeah, I didn't care. 10 years ago, he wrote a shitty thesis that didn't deserve to get a pass. It's my opinion, Solomon's opinion, Snitch's opinion, Dr. Idreas Moghal's opinion, but not this guy's opinion. He doesn't care if he didn't pass elementary school. And so I agree with him. This is valid. But what about the fact that he's lying right now to cover up his past? Do you care about that? He responds, the irony of you asking if it's okay for people to lie is just too much for me, Greg, with a laughing face. And so he clearly thinks I'm lying, even though I don't know what I'm lying about. I mean, did I not admit about my past, that I sold steroids and so on? And so rather than addressing it, he tries to shame me by putting me down, saying, no, but I'm a liar. Well, so you just avoided the question. Mike lied, tried to cover it up, and you don't care because you like him. Because there's 2 kinds of people. The people that want to learn the truth, the ones who are open-minded, and those who will fight to the end to not learn anything, to defend what they already believe. And so he likes Mike, and so he doesn't care what he does. And so how can we believe anything that Dr. Mike says? I mean, as soon as he's caught lying, he's going to cover it up. Nope, wasn't true, wasn't me. Avoid it. Not even address it on his own channel. Goes on Dr. Milo Wolf's challenge to do his dirty work for him. Milo Wolf didn't know anything about this. And so he helps to cover it up without even knowing the truth. And so Milo Wolf, completely innocent about this, defends his friend only to find out that his friend lied to him.
So anyone who follows fitness content probably knows of Dr. Mike Israetel. And you might have seen my video correcting his stance on alcohol, where he claims that 2 glasses of wine a night causes no harm.
And so remember, Mike is the one that said, hey, 1 or 2 glasses of wine, it doesn't do any harm. It's actually got health benefits. This is a good thing.
What's going on with alcohol? Should we drink it or not?
If you have 1 or 2 glasses of wine a night, most nights, statistically it has almost no effect on anything negative-wise. It has maybe some curious positives here and there.
Really?
Yeah.
And so because Mike said it, because he's got a PhD, when other people argue against him, they say, yeah, but Mike has a PhD, what do you know? And so do you not think that that misinformation could be harmful? Should Mike not have said, I think maybe it's okay to drink alcohol? But when you say it from a position of authority, not just some bro in the gym that says what he thinks, it's weighted differently than if a normal Joe Bro off the street says it. And so how do we know when Mike is telling the truth, quoting the studies properly, or when he's just talking out of his ass? And so he's gone over the video, watched it in its entirety, and we now know that was the final draft. It wasn't the first draft, of which Mike lied about. And he's saying it was a mess. He's also a doctor and agrees this was not quality work.
The rough draft, not the final version. But now today, he's actually admitted that it was the final thesis. So it appears that he's probably edited the version that Solomon reviewed, made a long rebuttal to discredit the critique, and misled everyone by suggesting it wasn't the final draft.
And so imagine misleading everyone, only when push comes to shove, finally admitting that it was a lie all along. And you're saying you don't care it was over 10 years ago. No, that was this week. The cover-up is worse than the original. So what if Mike got a PhD because the university just gave him the pass? It's not Mike's fault. They passed him. Take it up with the university. But remember, there was a threat to sue Solomon Nelson. That it was asked for Solomon to take his video down for no reason.
But the reason I'm making this video is not really about the drama. I'm making this video to discuss the issue of probity as academics and scientists. Because probity, honesty, transparency, and intellectual integrity isn't just a formality. It's the foundation that allows the public to trust us.
And so probity, integrity and uprightness, honesty. Mike has a PhD, and with that PhD, he's to be kept to a higher standard. Other people, for example, let's say Jeff Nippard, he doesn't have a PhD, and so when he presents the research, it doesn't have the same weight as Mike. Mike is expected to have integrity, uprightness, and honesty above anyone. And so when he lies, that affects us all.
When you publish a paper, a thesis, a post, or a video that claims to be evidence-based, you're not just sharing your opinion, you're making an implicit promise that your data are accurate, your sources are cited truthfully, and that you'll take accountability when errors are found. The moment that promise is broken, the credibility of the individual might take a hit, but more importantly, the credibility of science itself suffers.
And so how do we know if all the thousands of videos Mike has presented aren't just doctored information? How do you know he's had integrity all along? Perhaps he just says what he thinks will get the most views, what opinions might go viral. We know with certainty that he promoted alcohol as being healthy when literally it's stated it's a carcinogenic. When you're wrong and you promote other people and lie about what they're saying, that is going too far.
Integrity is not optional. It's the invisible contract between you, your audience, your peers, and the truth. Everyone will make mistakes. That's fine. I've publicly corrected myself on multiple occasions when I've gotten things wrong on a topic. The issue isn't the mistake, it's how you respond to it.
Everyone makes mistake. Sometimes I make a natty or not and I get it wrong. If I made a mistake, I'm going to make a video and say, guys, I screwed up. I'm only right 98% of the time. Remember, even though I'm only wrong about 2% of the time, I still make mistakes. But it's important to be honest and admit when you make a mistake. Was Mike honest? Did he make a video on his channel? Nope. He lied and tried to cover it up. Rather than just saying, you know what, this is true and move on, that's exactly what he should have done. He tried to hide it. And even with his admitting his mistake, it's only on his Instagram. He's not going to talk about this on his YouTube channel. He doesn't want the millions of people that will never find out about this. Most people don't follow YouTube as much as me or as you do. They don't really give a shit about all of the drama. And so how can we move on? I mean, how much trust do you have in Mike? Remember that time about 5 years ago when we all had to wear a mask? Perhaps there was some misinformation that was spread. And so do you believe the people the same way now, the scientists, as you did more than 5 years ago? Do you trust the powers that control us? Do you trust them 100% that they're only looking out for our best interest? Or do you think they might be a little bit shady? If you don't think that there's anyone out there that has control over you, that might be lying to you, that might be misleading you, trying to make more money, trying to gain control over us, then you are simply mistaken.
When audiences see people with advanced degrees editing documents after criticism, deleting evidence or rewriting history, it feeds a much wider narrative that experts cannot be trusted.
And so this goes further than just Mike. Now that you know that Mike has done this, what about other people? Let's look at Dr. Jose. He did research on my own Turk builder. Do you know what he did? He tried to make me pay $200,000 in secret to help control the study. I said, no, that is not something that someone with integrity would do. And you know what he did instead? He did the thesis, gave them 1 pill a day of my Turk builder max, 1 pill, never asked anyone to exercise. And after 1 month, reported that there was no statistical differences after using a friggin' in-body. The scam! I tested myself with an in-body, 19.8%. But yet, he used that with such a low amount of people in the study, there is no way it could have made a difference. And so, on freaking purpose, he lacked integrity, tried to take me down because I wouldn't pay him $200,000 in secret. And so what do you think happens because of that? Oh, Coach Greg is a snake oil salesman. He lied. Not lying. And so do you really trust all of the studies? That they don't pay off the statisticians? That they don't fudge the numbers?
The moment you sacrifice probity for reputation, you've crossed the line from scientist to salesman.
Have we not seen pharmaceutical companies lie to us in the past? It started with cigarette smoking. This is not unhealthy. It doesn't cause cancer, no problem. Years later, we find out how bad smoking actually is. It moves on to alcohol. Alcohol, 1 to 2 drinks a day, no problem. Mike even said it in a video. Turns out it's actually a carcinogen that even 1 drink a week is bad. And so they trick us, they lie to us, all for the benefits of the big pharmaceutical and major companies. The billions of dollars that are being made from smoking cigarettes, drinking alcohol, and they try to pull a fast one over us until we've got so much evidence that it's undeniable. And what about that crisis from over 25 years ago? Opioids, I do believe it was. They said, no, they're not addictive. Don't worry about it. Doctors then began to prescribe it. I watched a Netflix documentary on this. The thousands of lives that were lost over making billions of dollars. And so because of Mike and his actions, the scientific community has taken a hit. Did you guys know that major companies, this is what they'll do. I'm not making this shit up. They will run 10 studies. 10. Let's say it's to prove that creatine works. 10 studies. Let's pick the best one. Those 9, some didn't show a statistically significant difference. A few showed a little bit of change, but this one out of the 10, wow. Oh my goodness. That's a major breakthrough. Publish that. The other 9, we won't report those. And so I understand what's going on. My brother is literally a statistician with a master's degree, and people would try to pay him off. And when he said no, guess what they did? They hired someone else. Oh, you don't want it to say this? Cool, no problem. Someone's going to accept the money. Someone will accept a bribe. And so, guys, this is the aftermath of the Mike Israetel video. And so you can say it happened over 10 years ago. Who cares? What just happened now. Mike posted it today. And so if you say you don't care, that's just because you are uneducated, you don't give a shit, you'd rather be blue-pilled than to swallow the red pill.
The moment you sacrifice probity for reputation, you've crossed the line from scientist to salesman.
How much money do you think Mike Israetel is making? I'm going to bet it's over $10 million a year. I think he makes potentially even more money than Coach Greg. He's quickly pointed out, oh, Coach Greg is selling snake oil. Based on what? The fact that Jose did a bullshit experiment on my Turk Builder Max? Did he even try it? And so he's quick to point the finger to other people saying, oh, you're a grifter. Snake oil. What about when he looks himself in the mirror? When he tries to cover it up? Now remember, several years ago, we determined that myself, girl of mine, Sebum, we were selling ecdysteroids that we thought were Ajuga turkistanica. Turns out it was cyanosis. It's a different plant. A different herb. It's still an ecdysteroid. It still has some benefit, but you need it in much higher doses. And so previous to this, I said I put on 4 pounds of muscle in a month, of which I did. Some people put on more than 4 pounds a month taking creatine. I'm clearly an amazing responder to almost anything. I mean, look at the muscle I have. I'm 50. I'm only on HRT, of which you also think I'm lying about, and I am not. And so when that happened, what did I do? What did my company do? HTLT supplements. We changed all the labels. We changed it from Turk Builder to Ecdy Builder to accurately reflect exactly what was in the product. What did Derek do from Gorilla Mind? He doubled down. He continued to sell Turkplex, made a video saying, nope, it's not true. Continued to lie. And since that time, continued to sell Turkplex. Now, I don't have to go into the details, but other companies tried to acquire my Ajuga turkistanica from Uzbekistan. I have the receipts. I have the proof. I have proper chain of custody. We tested their products, and there was no Ajuga turkistanica. I have the proof. I've been vindicated. My product, Turk Builder Max and Turk Platinum, I promise you, this is not a lie, third-party tested, guaranteed, 100% exactly what we say it is. Turkplex. Remember when you right-click the URL and there was a picture of the trikesterol molecule on the bottle? Remember that? And then he tried to backpedal, say, oh, no, we don't promise it's testosterone. No, 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 no. And how many times did I say, I dare you to sue me because I would win in court? And so there was no lawsuit. Did Derek address any of this? Nope. But I was the only one in the industry that did what was right to accurately change the name. No one gives me credit for that. They say I'm a lying piece of shit scammer when I'm anything but that. I've been vindicated. They tested over 10 different people's products, posted it, videos are out, but y'all don't give a shit. Because why? Well, you like Derek. He was on the Joe Rogan show. He's cool. He says fuck a lot in videos. And so that is what happens. And so I continue to sell these products, and you can continue to hate me. And like I say, my worst day, it's like Christmas morning. Every day I get to wake up and see exactly what's happening. Do you really think you're going to have a bad day on Christmas Day if somebody said something mean about you online, bro, from Bangladesh? And so you're thinking, no, you're affected because you talk about it all the time. It's part of the business. I am, in fact, a salesman. I am, in fact, making millions of dollars. And I love it. Why do you think I have so many videos? Do you understand I have 60 finished videos that haven't been posted? 30 have even finished editing. And so I could stop working for the rest of the year and I would still have all my videos. But yet I continue to work because I love what I do. Every day is Christmas morning. And so imagine if every day you could wake up and it was like Christmas morning. You're spending time with your friends, family. It's amazing. Celebrations, good times. It's me every day. And I wish you had the same life that I have. It's an incredible one.
I said it before and I'll say it again. This makes us all look bad. And to be clear, this is not just some over 10-year-old document. This document is the document that gave Dr. Mike Israetel the authority to call himself doctor at the beginning of his videos.
Dr. Mike here.
And the authority to command that authority whenever people doubted what he was saying.
You are presuming you know more than me about the thing I'm one of the top experts in the world in, and also the thing I'm literally involved in myself. So whatever ideas you have about how I can improve, just right off.
And so remember, Mike flashes this in front of you every single time. I am doctor. But yet, how did he do with his own information at his recent bodybuilding competitions? It didn't work out so well. I mean, I know he didn't have a proper tan. And so since that time, how did he correct his body? Did he go back to his science that he learned in university? Or did he get surgery? Seems to me if he's so smart, if he has an IQ so high, wouldn't he know the correct supplements to take or perhaps the correct diet? Perhaps not diet on cereal and Gatorade, maybe do some cardio and show up peeled. But yet he didn't. Remember, you remember this.
Now this dissertation looks bad on everyone in academia because it makes all of us who worked our tails off to get to where we are look like we either did not work hard or didn't have to work hard if we just chose the most lenient advisor. The fact that those mistakes were accepted and were simmering in that dissertation for over a decade go to demonstrate why there has been such an influx of PhDs and why a PhD graduate may need to go through another 2 to 5 years of a postdoc experience in order to be acknowledged as qualified.
And so can you now see that just because you have a PhD doesn't mean you're some kind of a leading expert in the field, that you know more than anyone. They accepted that PhD thesis as a pass. That's acceptable. It's kind of like being an IFBB pro back 10, 15 years ago. It is actually very, very hard. But today, there are so many categories and so many competitions, it's 5 times easier to become a pro.
This is why holding a PhD has slowly become more and more devalued over the years, and why the job market for PhD graduates has become so unnecessarily competitive. I am passionate about this because this is the reason why I will struggle in the next 7 years to get a job after I graduate, especially if I decide that I don't want to do a postdoc. And this is at the core of why I find this dissertation and how it passed so disturbing. Now, before I close this chapter off, I just want to say that those saying that Dr. Mike Israetel has provided more good than harm, I beg to differ.
And so has he actually provided more good than harm? People are saying, yeah, but he changed my life. Yeah, you can change your life and still be a liar. You can change someone's life and still be a scammer. Of course you can.
Low but consistent alcohol consumption gives people cancer every year, and race realism was the reason why that pew-pew man in Buffalo, New York decided to do a mass unaliving. And allegedly, according to recordings of Mike Israetel on other podcasts and on his own channel, Mike Israetel has advocated for low-level alcohol consumption and biological race realism. I believe those two things do much more harm than rudimentary weight loss advice that you can simply Google. And before you comment, he couldn't have really promoted low-level alcohol consumption and race realism. Oh, yes, he did.
What's going on with alcohol? Should we drink it or not?
If you have 1 or 2 glasses of wine a night, most nights, statistically it has almost no effect on anything negative-wise. It has maybe some curious positives here and there.
Really?
Yeah. The GPT tells you.
So even the person interviewing him is like, really? Should he have said this? Or should he have said, I think maybe, but I could be mistaken. But when you say, hey, I'm a PhD, I'm a doctor, you can't challenge me in the thing I know best. If I studied for 1 year, I would be expert and authority in the field that you know best.
Because you asked it, that your race or ethnic group is not the most intelligent of all of them. You may also discover at the same time that there is a totem pole of racial intelligence. Here is my view in perpetuity until politics changes in at least the United States. I 100% acknowledge, because I'm literate, that race is truly a biological construct.
And so there you have it, the aftermath of the Israetel files. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm. HDLT supplements, code Greg, 15% off. The Seco bars are 50% off if you enter the code Seco. And for blood work and to purchase things like Ozempic or Tirzepatide, Cialis, Viagra, Telmisartan, the list goes on. AlgoRx, code Greg, 10% off at AlgoRx. It's cheaper prices than last time, about half price of their main competitors, such as Merrick Health. And so if you're interested, please go and check them out. I'm also doing coaching. And so if you're interested in being coached by myself, click the link in the description and apply today. And until next time, I am out.